You have the money from the county yet?
Are you?
No, it's in
Yeah.
the works.
In the works.
I mean,
That's
you
what
never
they said in the
100%, but our house
Yeah,
down.
I believe.
But you have very specific.
Yeah.
we
Now,
have 100 and some odd
Oh, yeah.
people. and
Okay.
I feel like we got 20.
So I'd like to call the meeting of the Sullivan County Funding Corporation to order. Julio, can I have a roll call?
Ms. Lara.
Present.
Ms. Lara is present. Mr. Siegel.
present,
Mr. Siegel is present. Mr. Wright.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
recorded my time.
Mr. Smith is present. Mr. Steiner.
Here.
Mr. Steiner is present. Mr. Brooks. Here. Mr. President, Mr.
So I'm assuming everybody's had a chance to review the April 8th, 2024 meeting minutes. If so, can I have a motion to approve? Scott, second. Howard, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now moving on to bills and communications. Jen, you want to discuss the letter from Connell Foley regarding Monticello Industrial Park?
Yes, so first, there's no scheduled payments this month. We received the letter that's in your packet from Foley. So a couple years ago, the Sullivan County Funding Corp, after acquiring the former landfill expansion parcel from the county, deeded it over to Monticello Industrial Park, and in that contract of sale was a requirement that that entity complete a certain development project, which is a multi-tenanted industrial park, within 2 months of closing. So we're coming up on that, or 2 years, excuse me. So we're coming up on that 2-year term of the October. Monticello Industrial Park is requesting some additional time because there are water access and infrastructure issues, and they're working with the village. So this is, I don't have a resolution ready for you, but I just wanted to bring this to your attention. The project is apparently willing and ready to invest, but the project might look a little different than it was originally envisioned. As you remember, there's on what we call the ARC building parcel, which is owned by a related entity, RGG Realty. There's a building that's now used for Apple Ice. So the project would like to actually add on to that building instead of building a new building. It's a similar development, but it looks a little bit different. But the main issue is that it's not gonna be done by October. So in addition to the funding corp considering that change to the contract of sale, the IDA would probably need to amend the agent and project agreement, because they're both RGG Realty and Monticello Industrial Park separately have agreements with the IDA. So we need to amend those to accommodate whatever this development is. So it's at this moment, just for your information and any discussion.
I think it's still a very viable project. Number one, we don't have a lot of viable projects that have some meat to
It's gonna
them.
happen.
Two, and it's in an area that we need to develop. You know, there, any consideration we could emotionally provide, I would.
He does everything he says.
Yeah, and when I had supply chain, you know.
He's probably,
No grass growing on the discussion.
no, he's probably not gonna build multi-tenanted industrial park at this point. He's probably gonna add on to the existing building.
Which is what you just said, right?
I think it will be very, whatever he's gonna do.
But it was a good sized building too, wasn't it like 50,000 square feet?
Yeah.
He's planning 15.
So we need to bring a resolution to the next meeting. How long an extension is reasonable under the circumstances?
Are they requesting a certain amount of time?
No.
So the village obviously has had a major turnaround. The good thing is that it's, yeah, it's, water and sewer is the biggest problem, and we're very reluctant to share with the village because of that, but this property is right there. I don't think there's an issue with that. If really my concern isn't the developer, it's village.
Why is it a turnaround?
Oh, they're all new village board,
Oh,
and they fired
That's what she
their
meant.
comptroller, and they fired their building inspector, brought back a former one.
So it's to the better.
No, maybe not necessarily. How's that? So I'm on the record.
Yeah, I didn't realize
You
you
know
were
what
being
was-
facetious. Okay, I didn't realize you were being facetious. I don't follow the board for this. Sad.
No, agreed. So, I would think that would be the only thing, is obviously the developer is interested in moving forward, so I don't know if a
So what do
year,
you?
6 months.
give them
How
to-
about doing something with a year and then,
I think a year that we would, a year gets us to, we're in the dead zone in October.
Yes.
So giving somebody a year to end up in a dead zone the following October. is-
I was gonna say with
I would
renewable.
give them 6 months
Or ask them.
and then ask them to come back in with a, you know, with a potential so that we have some idea.
How about we talk to him and see what his plans are, because I think he's kind of ready to go if he could get water.
Okay. I don't think we should slow them up. I don't think we want to have this discussion again because it's October.
As a matter
I
of
think
fact,
it's nothing enough.
if we give him too
November,
much
December.
time, that might harm him.
Right.
He may be able to use this as a tool to
Right, the
encourage
village.
the village. Look, I only have 3 months
Good
left.
point. Good point.
So Walter,
Then help
who's
us
gonna
out.
talk to him?
I can talk to
I mean, Sean can talk to him, I can talk to him. I
Somebody
him all
talk
the
to him,
time,
whoever.
right? He's a very good guy.
And tell him we're in support of him. What does he
Yeah.
need? And we just don't
The
wanna,
shorter term might help him get his water.
right?
Right.
Cause considering that if it doesn't, we'll still give him.
The village has some permit issues with DEC and Department of Health on the water.
Okay.
And it, I mean, it's not like they can just do it if they want to. They have some issues to solve.
Well, they seem to do everything else, so.
Yeah.
That building is in district though, it doesn't need an extension,
Right.
correct?
The only
water.
the building is in the district,
Yeah.
If not,
not
it's
the land
adjacent,
where he
right.
wants to build. They have to expand the district. The question is whether the permitting agencies will let them expand the district until they do a bunch of stuff they haven't done. That's the quandary he's in.
Okay.
It's not in his control.
And you know, it does make sense because the village has told us that Thompson, if anybody wants to annex in, they're not allowing that right now. So it may make sense why he's sticking with the original building and just making it bigger. It's probably more viable for water and sewer. All right. So quarterly financial report. Anything of note, Jen?
Just you'll notice that the funding corp's net position is up, our net assets are up, and that's because of the new loans that we've taken on from the county. So I just handed out,
Yeah,
Yep.
you just handed out.
Yep.
There's 5 that are on here that say they're delinquent.
right,
How delinquent are they? Do we know?
so
Leo,
the
you know, right?
4,
The first two delinquent, which Pelican Hospitality and Greenbush Acres, they came current in April. So this
So
report
those
is
are-
as of, the end of March.
So they're current.
Yes, and then the last 4 have been delinquent.
so these are the ones that the county was discussing writing off, that hasn't.
Okay, well, how much time do you want to take up of the board to write off 33 cents? Can we write that off
Yeah,
today?
Can I give you 33 cents? Maybe easier.
Right.
Actually, that's a good idea, so that we don't have another delinquent thing for 33 cents.
Yeah.
Let's have the 33
I got it.
oh, wait.
You take credit cards?
This is how it did.
Walter, do we need you to motion?
Well, actually, I want to be a
No,
support.
somebody
Keep the other 67 cents for the next
sent
one.
him back 67 cents. So that was current.
Okay, good.
Okay, so now what about the other 3?
It's been years and
Willie Houston went bankrupt,
Right.
so that's uncollectible. Do we know, who's Violet Hill Farms, do we know?
Paul and Alex Bench-Layton, they're up Rockland Road. It's been a long time since they've made a payment. Many years.
Us writing it off doesn't mean we can't go after them if we wanted to. The two aren't the same. We're not gonna go after them anyway.
You're just cleaning up.
Just clean them
Right.
up.
All right,
So the last 3, what do you need to write them off? A motion for the board to write them off?
yes.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
make, we're not in executive session, I think.
No.
I'll make the motion to write off the county, 3 loans that the county, assigned back in the day that haven't been collected in years.
Cyber Shack, Violet Hill Farms, and Will Houston.
Do you remember where the source is that the county got the revenue stream for that?
HUD.
Yeah,
is all-
Long time
So
ago.
it's not gonna have any impact
No
on us
impact.
going
Well,
forward.
2013, ages ago. Okay. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. One other quick note, or question for you, related to the balance sheet and the quarterly financial report is, as you know, in prior years, the funding corp had a grant application cost share program. There's about $4,800 in that fund right now from prior years. cash flow at the funding corp is tough, and I spoke with Susie a little bit about it, and she didn't have a strong preference. I would like to, if the board agrees, use that money to pay other bills rather than continuing the cost share program for this year. I just think it's makes more.
The
it's a
cost
little
share
more-
program is for grants, correct?
Yeah, it's for us to pay for a portion of.
Right, which and I always end up one of those people.
Yes.
How much is in that?
$4,800, I think.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we do that.
Can I get a second? Carol, all in favor?
Thank you.
Most of the, how many of those have we been successful in?
Many,
Most.
Right.
Yeah.
many.
When does that come back in?
When we find a source for more money.
Well,
We
what
We have,
the
no
idea-
mon- we have, funding corp is down to very little money.
Yeah, but when can the funding corp get money?
We only can get that, we can't transfer it from the IDA, from what I understand. Well, but you should be the one telling on me, but we get it from our fees.
There are some practical limitations, but when the time comes, we'll figure it out, is the answer.
Yeah, because if they're successful and they, you know, and
You
they,
don't have anybody that's asking for a cost share right now, do you?
it's only $4,000.
We have people asking if we have the program, if there are funds available. We haven't gotten a proposal, right?
We
Is
got
that
a
correct? Oh, we
proposal
did.
from Costco. So
Brian's wagon, who?
Andre.
And how much was the request on that?
2,500 would be the share, the funding corp share.
So you got one more to go. After that, you don't have any money anyway. You know, and would they typically not do a project if they couldn't get half of the application fee? I think if it was serious enough.
Well,
I think we need to look for money.
there are some that probably would not have without our help.
Right,
Right, so I think we need to look for money. If we temporarily need to pay bills, it's only 4,000,
No, you don't, you're not out of money at this point.
which is down to $4,000.
No, that was in
In
the
that- in
fund,
In that account,
not in the, we have 400,000, but
yes, exactly.
So why, if we have 400,000 and
well.
how much, what are our bills?
Some of it's receivable, 244 in
The
cash,
food hub.
but we just
We
gave
have the
100,000. Is that out of the 244 yet?
Uh,
100,000?
I think we did that before March. No, that might have been April. We have another 100,000 to pay to the food hub in July.
Correct,
And then we have another 100,000 to pay to the food hub next July.
correct.
And that.
And you have all
payment-
these loans that are gonna make repayments between now and then.
I think you'll have some. Sure.
Yes.
We have to
There's,
be careful.
right now, there's not
That's a good
enough
point.
money back next
Well, we
July.
have to be
There's not
careful at
gonna
the
be
point,
enough.
but back when I.
$2,500 out of the 4,000, not gonna make a difference. I think that's where you're going, and we should.
Well, what I'm saying is, if we're gonna do away with the entire program,
You just let it burn off on its own.
right, so I wouldn't take the, I wouldn't go my motion, because it's, I just don't wanna do away with something.
well,
You
especially
don't
if we
need-
have an application, I think if we didn't, I'd feel a little bit.
Especially, if we've been successful with it.
All right,
All right. Is that it, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, do we have any other business? There's no public comment?
With respect to the cost share, we don't have a committee established.
I thought we had one, why was I not looking?
I spoke with Susie about that, and I'll connect offline, that we don't put people on the spot, but, right, because right now it's hours only, and because others have left, but
I haven't turned any of them down, I just haven't
No.
gotten them in a while. They're all pretty good, and Paul we used to discuss them, and we discussed them.
Yeah.
I was not a renegade to, you know, Julio, I'd ask questions, you know, Bethany wouldn't call me, so.
All right, so then can I get a motion to close the meeting of the funding? Ira, Scott, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready for the third.